The ordinary council house at 284 Green Street in Enfield, North London, appeared no different from its neighbors in the quiet suburban neighborhood. But between August 1977 and September 1979, this unassuming residence became the stage for what experts consider one of the most well-documented and disturbing poltergeist cases in history. What began as subtle disturbances escalated into a terrifying ordeal that would challenge our understanding of reality and leave psychological scars that persist decades later. The nightmare started quietly enough. Single mother Peggy Hodgson first noticed small anomalies, a chair slightly out of place, a faint tapping in the walls. But within weeks, the phenomena escalated dramatically. Her children, 11-year-old Janet, 10-year-old Johnny, and their older siblings reported their beds shaking violently at night, with such force that the headboards cracked against the walls. Then came the disembodied breathing, deep, wet, guttural gasps that echoed through empty rooms, audible to everyone in the house. The children witnessed impossible events that defied the laws of physics. Toys levitated before their eyes, sometimes remaining suspended in mid-air for several seconds. Marbles rolled uphill against gravity's pull. Chairs slid across the floor with tremendous force, leaving visible scratch marks in the wooden floorboards. The family watched in horror as the living room fireplace was dismantled, brick by unseen hands, the heavy components floating through the air before crashing to the ground. But the true horror began when the entity found its voice. Janet would suddenly enter a trance-like state, her body convulsing as her features twisted unnaturally. Then a rasping, cigarette-scarred voice would erupt from her throat, claiming to be Bill Wilkins, the previous resident who had died in the house. This was no childish game. Investigators watched in stunned silence as the voice revealed intimate details about Wilkins, life and death that an 11-year-old girl couldn't possibly know, including the exact location of his fatal stroke and his final thoughts before passing. The physical attacks became increasingly violent. Janet was thrown across rooms like a ragdoll on multiple occasions, witnessed by police officers and journalists. In one particularly disturbing incident, she was dragged from her bed by an invisible force and pulled down the hallway, her nails scratching desperately at the floorboards as she tried to resist. Photographs captured her levitating several feet in the air, her nightdress billowing as if caught in an unseen wind. The knocks, always in sets of 3, grew so loud they could be heard from the street, sometimes sounding like sledgehammer blows against the walls. What makes the Enfield case uniquely terrifying isn't just the phenomena, but the psychological warfare waged by the entity. It displayed a cruel, almost playful intelligence that seemed to enjoy tormenting the family. Shoes would disappear only to drop from the ceiling moments later. It mimicked family members' voices to lure them into dark rooms. Most chillingly, it appeared to feed on their fear, with the activity intensifying as their terror grew. The children developed nervous tics and began sleeping with the lights on, while Peggy Hodgson's health deteriorated from the constant stress. Skeptics have claimed it was all an elaborate hoax, but the evidence tells a different story. Multiple police officers signed sworn statements attesting to witnessing impossible events. The BBC recorded hours of the unnatural voice, with audio experts confirming the vocal patterns didn't match Janet's normal speech. Even renowned skeptic James Randi, who set out to debunk the case, admitted there were occurrences he couldn't explain. Perhaps most compelling are the contemporaneous reports from Maurice Gross and Guy, Lion Playfair of the Society for Psychical Research, who documented over 1,500 separate paranormal events during their investigation. The haunting followed a disturbing pattern familiar to paranormal researchers. It began with raps and knocks, the enforcement phase, progressed to object movement, the phenomenal phase, and ultimately reached the communicative phase where the entity began speaking through Janet. This progression mirrors other famous cases like the Bell Witch haunting, suggesting a possible methodology to these supernatural occurrences. Perhaps most disturbing is what happened after the active haunting supposedly ended. Janet Hodgson has never fully escaped the trauma. In rare interviews, she admits to still hearing the knocks sometimes. 3 loud raps, just like before. The current residents of 284 Green Street report nothing unusual, leaving us with an unsettling question. If the poltergeist wasn't attached to the house, was it attached to Janet all along? Modern parapsychologists theorize that some poltergeist cases may actually be manifestations of psychokinesis from emotionally distressed adolescents, a theory that could explain why the activity seems centered around Janet. This isn't just a ghost story. It's a documented case of the impossible that challenges everything we think we know about reality. The Enfield Poltergeist forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth, that there may be forces in this world far beyond our understanding, entities that can invade our lives with terrifying consequences. The case raises profound questions about consciousness, the nature of reality, and whether some phenomena truly exist outside our current scientific framework. Now it's your turn to decide, real or hoax? The evidence is contradictory enough to support both interpretations. Was this a genuine supernatural manifestation, an elaborate psychological experiment gone wrong, or something even more complex? Drop your verdict in the comments below. Do you believe the Hodgsons truly faced a supernatural terror? Or was this an elaborate trick that fooled even the experts? If this deep dive into the unknown left you questioning reality, smash that like button. Let's see how many brave souls made it to the end of this terrifying tale. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because next week we're investigating another haunted case that's even more disturbing. And remember, when you hear 3 knocks tonight, ... don't say we didn't warn you. Follow for more true horror stories that will keep you up at night. Sweet dreams. If you can still sleep after this.